You're listening to the Chat City interviews from 103.2 Preston FM.
103.2 Preston FM.
Keeping it local.
And that's where you are. You're with Chat City, your weekday morning show, Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. through to noon. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being with us. And it's lovely to know we have people around the world listening and people here in Preston and South Ribble. Now, more than 2 million people in England are now riding bikes at least once a week. The latest results from Sport England's Active People Survey revealed today. Cycling is now the third most popular sport in England, and the news also means that Britsh Cycling has achieved its 2013-14 Sport England participation targets. And to talk more about cycling, it's nice to welcome to Chat City this morning on the telephone, Caroline Gilbert. So, Caroline, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Hughie. Thank you for having me on to talk to you about cycling.
I know. Lovely to talk to you. It's quite a statistic, that, isn't it, to know, and we're just talking adults there, that we've got over 2 million adults now cycling regularly. What do you think the popularity is?
It's absolutely amazing, yeah. We're obviously really delighted about it. And we think there's quite a few reasons for the increase in popularity of cycling in England. One is probably that we've had such success at the elite level, so we've seen a lot more of the Team GB cyclists get medals than ever before, and that was definitely the case at London 2012, as I'm sure you'll remember, but also it went right back to Beijing, the Beijing Olympic and Paralympic Games in 2008, and that's when we saw Chris Hoy get his gold medals and the other cyclists as well. So it was at that point that we specifically decided at Britsh Cycling that we wanted to see a proper legacy. You know, people talk a lot about legacy of the Olympics. And we decided then that we wanted to see a legacy for cycling, and that means to us just more people riding bikes, be it racing for competitions, but really for the majority of people it's just getting on a bike and experiencing the joy of riding a bike to get from A to B. So we worked at that point with Sky, who are our partner, to put together a big community programme of cycling across the whole country. And at that point, we started working with Preston Council and South Ribble Council, who've supported us from the very start to try and encourage more people to cycle in the area. And we've continued to work in the area for the last 4 years. So we've seen this big increase nationally, but we've also seen a big increase locally in Preston and South Ribble of people riding bikes and getting out on their bikes more.
Right. So what is the kind of work then that you do with the councils? And do the councils then these days, do you think, take cycling into account when they're actually planning the road networks and they're looking at, pedestrianising areas? Is cycling taken into account?
I think it's taken into account more and more, yeah. I mean, there's lots more that the government can do to take cycling into account when they're planning roads, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done on modernising and improving junctions that, have been planned without cyclists in mind, to make it safer and easier for cyclists, and that's an absolutely massive task. And Britsh Cycling and other organisations as well are campaigning all the time to try and improve the roads for cyclists. But alongside of all of that, there's loads that councils do and that we do as well to promote cycling and make use of not just the roads but the traffic-free routes. And we're lucky that in Preston in particular, but also in South Ribble, there are some fantastic traffic-free routes. So you've probably heard of the Guild Wheel.
Oh, yes, yes.
Which is just, in my view, it's just revolutionised cycling in Preston, really. It's an amazing thing to have a route that goes in a big loop of the city, where you don't have to go on the road very much at all. And you get to see areas of the city that you wouldn't otherwise see, and you can do that on your bike and on foot. And so we have a big program called Skyride Local that we run in partnership with the councils, and that's a series of free guided rides, and they take place all through the summer. This year they're starting in May. And you can just turn up with your bike. We like people to book on in advance so we know how many people are going to be there. And the rides are led by British Cycling ride leaders, so people can know that they're in safe hands, and they know they don't have to worry about their route because that's already taken care of. And they get to go along with a group and meet like-minded people. So we've used the Guild Wheel for a lot of those routes, and we will do this year as well, but also the Old Tram Road, and there's some really lovely countryside routes, of course, particularly in South Ribble, on quite quiet roads. So whilst safety is a big issue and it's often a barrier and a worry for people, what we've tried to do with our Skyride Local programme is overcome some of those safety issues, because there are definitely safety in numbers as well when you're on a bike. If you're riding in a group, and if you imagine a group of people in high-vis vests, because everyone who comes on one of our rides gets a high-vis vest, big bright yellow vest, and then if you imagine people riding either single file or two abreast, they become more the size of a lorry than the size of a bike, and you can't help but see them. So suddenly that safety issue is no longer such an issue, and it also helps people to become more confident as well. So we get lots of people who come on the rides who maybe they haven't ridden a bike for quite a long time, and they just wouldn't go on their own. But if they go with a group, it can be a stepping stone to them becoming maybe more independent on their bike as well. So lots of people who come on a leisure ride with us might even end up commuting as well and using their bike to get to the shops and to get to work and so on.
And certainly, as you say, the Guild Wheel, because I'm on the Guild Wheel every day, and it's just amazing to see the cyclists, and also the fact that it's continuing through the winter months. I know that British Cycling, they have launched a strategy to try and tackle the gender imbalance and to get more women on their bikes. Why do you think it is that maybe women don't ride as often as guys?
As men, well, we've that question of women. We survey. We've had thousands and thousands of people on our rides across the country in the last 4 years or so, and we've done a lot of surveying of them to learn that very thing. And we've asked women what would stop them riding a bike and the things that motivate them. So we know that worries about safety are a big thing for women as well as for men. And then things like not knowing where to ride and not having anybody to ride with. And then we also know that there are specific things that maybe motivate women more than they do men. So women say that they like to ride to keep fit. They're really often really keen, and these are generalisations obviously, but
yes.
Lots of women are very keen on the social element of cycling, and some women say that cycling is something that they can do for themselves. It's a time where they can have time to themselves away from looking after everybody else in their lives. So we've launched the strategy, we launched it last March because we know that historically there's been this big gender imbalance across the sport of cycling, but also across recreational riding, so people just riding a bike for pleasure. And we really feel that we need to do something about it. So we're trying to create more opportunities for women to take part in cycling at every level of the sport and of bike riding in general. And that's from, the very elite level of wanting to get more women getting gold medals, and coaching the sport and leading the sport and governing it, right through to more ladies out on bikes, having fun on bikes, and also riding, like utility cycling, riding to and from work and using their bikes to get around. So we've been running a big program called Breeze since 2011, and it's the biggest program ever in the world to get more women into riding bikes for fun. And it's led by volunteers, so it's guided rides, a bit like Skyride Local, that are organised by women, and they're for women. So in Preston and South Ribble, we've trained 10 ladies to be Breeze champions. So they are all qualified to be British Cycling ride leaders, and they take ladies out on bikes all around the area, and they organise the rides whenever they want to. They do them from wherever they want to, and they're an absolutely brilliant group of women who are really changing women's cycling in Preston. And looking at then the numbers of people cycling in Preston, it's really interesting, because if you look at British Cycling's programmes, all of the guided rides that we do across the country, about 60% of the people who take part are men. But if you just look at Preston, 60% of the people who take part are women. Wow. So it's the other way around in Preston. Breeze has been so successful in getting women on bikes that it's seriously started to change, women's behaviour, really. And we just hope to build on that. And we think also, because we've been working in Preston and South Ribble for quite a long time now, we've started to link in well to work that other organisations are doing too. So there's a really good charity called Cycling Projects, and they do some Health on Wheels rides in some of the parks in Preston, and they get a lot of ladies going along to those rides. They do rides for beginners, right through to then ladies who've gained a bit more confidence and want to go a bit further. And we get lots of the ladies who go on those rides then going on to our Breeze rides and our Skyride local rides too. So there's lots of choice for ladies in Preston who want to get on bikes. So I think that's probably got a lot to do with the fact that there are so many more ladies getting on bikes in Preston than in other areas.
Wow, that's certainly very interesting. How do people find out about Breeze and more about British Cycling then, Caroline?
Well, we've got a website where you can book on to any of our guided rides, and that website is www.goskyride.com. And then you just put your postcode in, and it will bring up any rides that are taking place near you. So that's the best place to go for information. And then there are links on there to other cycling opportunities that there are in the area. And I think the thing to say about all of our rides, and especially the Breeze rides, is that, whatever your level, you'll find something for you. So I know that particularly with ladies, often there'll be maybe a bit of a confidence issue, and lots of ladies and people in general who haven't been on a bike for a long time might be worried that they won't be fit enough or that the group might leave them behind. But that is never the case with the Breeze rides or the Skyride Local. So the ride leaders will always go at the pace of the slowest person. They'll have plenty of stops, and if you need to walk up a hill, that's absolutely fine. Breeze, they do lots of stops for coffee and cake, which to me is one of the best things about cycling, is rewarding yourself with a piece of cake in the middle of the ride or at the end. So it's a really informal and social thing to do. We just want as many people as possible to come along and experience it.
Brilliant. Well, can I thank you for talking to us this morning, Caroline? Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Hughie.
It's certainly interesting to hear there about Breeze, so thank you very much for that. And I'm sure we probably got some ladies listening this morning who will be contacting that website. So thanks very much, Caroline.
Thank you, Hughie. And if you ever want to come on one of our Skyride local rides, it would be lovely to have you along.
That's very nice of you to say that, and we'll take you up on that one, I'm sure. Okay, thank you very much.
Superb.
Speak to you soon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks for listening. If you've enjoyed today's interview, why not tweet Hughie at ChatCityPFM?